Okay, we're in section 34 of the notes, and this is the review for class test number 2. Certainly this should look very familiar to you. We've done a review of class test number 1 as well, and also the midterms. It should be very familiar to you. It's going to be a set of questions. I'm just looking through it. I notice there's questions over here. I'm just quickly scrolling through it. There's 27 questions, but there appears to be no answers or solutions to these questions over here. Well, if you just simply move forward, what you're going to notice is in 34.2, there's going to be answers to these questions, right? Now, what I mean by that, there's going to be the same question. You'll see a little blue area with the solution to it and some work. And you'll also possibly see some graphs that are provided to you if you're asked to graph these things. There's also videos over here. I would recommend the best way to do this is to do the problems on your own. If you need additional support, watch these small videos on the side. Some students like to see me go through all the problems in one shot. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do all the problems in one shot. All right, so let me share the white screen with you again. Just give me 1 second. I got to get this ready for you, okay? Just give me a minute here. And I got to get a white screen here for you, don't I? And I'm just going to work through the problems for you. And let me tell you where we are. We're in section 34 of the notes. And we're just doing the review. Again, you really need to do this on your own, but the bottom line is if you want to watch someone do it, that's fine as well. So let me just go through these problems one at a time. I'll do it quickly. I realize for some students it's too quick. You can always come back later and watch these off schedule, and you can pause the tape if you like then. All right, what does want to do? Find the slope and y-intercept of the line whose equation is. Let me write this down for you. And I can write down m pretty quickly because it's in the formula like y equals mx. So m is minus 3/2. And I can write down the y-intercept pretty quickly as well. The y-intercept is a point such that x is 0. And if x is 0, really simple equation then, you would just get y equals minus 2. All right. If you want me to graph it, I want to point out to graph this thing over here is you're going to need to come up with 2 points. And yes, I'm using both slope and the y-intercept to do that. Put this over here. You may not realize that. Pick another value. The value I'd probably pick for x would be, besides 0, would be minus 2. And what would you get there? You get 3 minus 2, which would be 1. So I'm ready to write down those 2 points and graph the line for you. All right. So first point, 0 minus 2. And the other point would be minus 2, 1. And draw a line through that. And again, I'm not going to say it's the best line in the world, but it's good enough. All right, we're not looking for great lines. This should really look, if you look at the key, it should look just like that. They tell me the slope is minus 3/2. They tell me the y-intercept is 0 minus 2. And they give me a better picture, but it's really the same picture, all right, in intent. All right, let's go to number 2. And again, for some students, it appears to be going too quickly for them. You need to do this on your own time now and come back and watch this video if necessary. This is an equation to be solved. And what I'm going to do is recommend you get an LCD. I'll write that down for you. And now you're going to multiply every term by that LCD. There's 3 terms. No, you don't need to write it down, but some students do. If writing it down hurts you, though, don't write it down. Try to do this in your head. I'm going to go through the cancellations now. And then I'll go through the simplification. What do you get over here? 3 times 2x minus 1, which would be 6x minus 3. That's done. Then you get 2x squared. I'm just multiplying it. Minus x plus 2x. Let's keep going. Notice I have a quadratic now. I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides, and I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And what do you get? 0, 2x squared. Let's see, you get minus 5x plus 3. I'm hoping this factors nicely using integer numbers, finger numbers. If not, I go to quadratic formula, which I hope I don't have to. Let's see, I'm going to say 3 and 1. And let's see, 2x squared minus 2x minus 3x. Yeah, it's minus 5x plus 3. Yeah, good. X equals, well, x minus 1 becomes 0 when x is 1, or x equals, and you have to looking at 2x minus 3, 2x would equal 3, 3 halves. Put this over here. I know it seems premature to box these things, I should check it. I'm not saying you shouldn't check it, but when you're reviewing for an exam, what I would recommend is looking at the answer key very quickly and seeing how you're doing. All right. And it looks good. It looks good. It's just exactly what the answer key says. Let's go to number 3. I'll write down for you. Number 3 is a complex number, 3 minus 4i, and 3 plus 4i. Now they say you simplify it. Really what they want you to do is write it in the form a plus or minus some bi, where a and b are real numbers. And the way we've been doing this is by multiplying the bottom and the top by the bottom's conjugate. The bottom's conjugate is 3 minus 4i. I'm going to go through the work, and the work is a multiplication now. Things will work out nicely. Let's do the bottom. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 12i, plus 12i, minus 16i squared. You should recall that I squared is minus 1. So what do we get in the bottom? Well, what's nice about this? These disappear. And that's the point of using a conjugate. And you'd get 9 plus 16, which is 25. All right, let's go to the top now. 9 minus 12i minus 12i plus 16i squared. Well, again, you should realize that I squared is minus 1. So I get 9 minus 16, which is minus 7. And minus 12i minus 12i is minus 24i. Now, by the way, I don't mind that answer. What I do want to write down is the proper form of it. It's minus 7 over 25 minus 24 over 25i. In web assign, sometimes they ask you what the a is. In this case, the a would be minus 7 25ths, and ask you what the b is. And in this case, the b would be minus 24 25ths. Right? My recommendation is look at the answer key, and I'm hoping you're staring at the answer that we want you to get, which is minus 7 25ths, minus 24 25ths of an I. Okay, good. Number 4. And number 4 is a root equation. And that's going to be x minus 5 minus 5 equals 0. It's the root of x minus 5 equals 0. Isolate the root or the radical by adding 5 to both sides. And then you're going to raise both sides to the index, which is going to be 2. What do you get? Something pretty simple. X minus 5 equals 25. Add 5 to both sides and you get 30. Of course, this can be checked. My recommendation is to look at the answer key to make sure you're staring at what we say it is, and we do say x equals 30 there. All right, let's go to number 5. Yes, I know this is quick. I want to recommend, again, for students that are not doing work and they just want to come by for a quick solution, you really have to put the time and effort in. All right, let's write this one down. You get 3x squared plus 3 equals 7x. They want me to use the quadratic formula, which requires me to get in standard form, which is 3x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. I'll write the a down now. The a is 3, the b is minus 7, and the c is going to be 3. Quadratic formula just couldn't be easier, but you do need to know it. The bottom is twice the a. Well, if a is 3, twice the a is 6. The top is the opposite of b. Well, if b is minus 7, the opposite of minus 7 is 7, plus or minus, and this is where a lot of students really screw up. What goes there? B squared. Well, minus 7 times minus 7 is 49. And then I get minus 4 times A times C, which is minus 36. X equals 7 plus or minus, well, 49 minus 36 is 13. There's not much I can do about that because I don't know the square root of 13, and there's no violations. So we'll look at the answer key, make sure you're staring at that. Now let's go to number 6. I'll write it down for you. And would say determine if the function, if the relationship is a function, and you explain your answer. Well, let me put this down in bubble diagrams for you. The x values, these are ordered pairs, and the ordered pairs are given to you x comma y. This is also referred to as a domain of the problem. Then there's going to be y values, and this is often referred to as the range of the problem. Well, let's write these numbers down. I see 4. I'm looking at the x numbers. I see 8. I see 10. Somebody says, I see 4 again. Yep, you see 4. He's there. You'll put him down twice. He's there. And then 7. Oops. Now, what do you see in the range? 1. I'm looking at the y values. 2, 5, minus 1, minus 3. Now, let's talk about the relationship. 4, the first ordered pair, goes to 1. 8 goes to 2. I'm telling you how they're related. 10 goes to 5. And let's see, 4 goes to minus 1. And let's see, 7 goes to minus 3. Well, everybody in the domain is going to something in the range. Unfortunately, 4 is going to 2 different things. So this is not, although it's a relationship, it's not functional. And why is that? 4 maps to 1, and it maps to minus 1. Look at the answer key, and they clearly say that in the answer key. Let's go to number 7. There's a lot of redundancy in these problem sets, by the way. What do I mean by that? It seems like it's deja vu all over again. Same questions over and over. Find the equation of the line. Well, my favorite form is this over here. With the understanding, I need to know a point and a slope. What did they give me? They gave me a point, and they gave me the slope. So let's write down y minus 5 equals minus 4, x minus 0. Put this in a box. I'm going to rewrite a little bit differently. And the reason for that, WebAssign often wants you to solve for y. All right, look at the answer key. Make sure you're staring at that. And of course we are. These are pretty simple questions. Let's go to number 8. And what's number 8? You know, what values are excluded from the domain? Well, let me write this over here. And this is a rational function. It's a ratio of 2 polynomials. So what's being, what numbers can't come in? It's when the bottom becomes 0. So when does the bottom become 0? When x is 5. So the only number that's not allowed in here is 5. If someone says, why can't 5 come in? It causes a division by 0. All right. If you read through the key, what do you have over there? Causing a division by 0. And what number does that? Is 5. All right. Let's go to number 9. Again, I'm not just reading through the problem set and quickly going through it for you. Number 9 says, find the slope of the line. Oh, let's put this down. There's 2 points. 9 minus 4. The other point is 5, 8. All right. I'm going to use a formula. And the formula I'm going to use is m equals the change in y, y2 minus y1, over the change in x, x2 minus x1. This is P1. This is P2. 8 minus a minus 4 over 5 minus 9. What do you get there? 8 plus 4 is 12. 5 minus 9 is minus 4. And what do you get there? Minus 3. All right. Take a look at the key. Make sure you're looking at that. I also want to remind you, for students that are having difficulties following the material, please come by during office hours. We can get one-on-one help. And we certainly want you to get through the course. And if that means providing help, by tutoring you, we can do that for you. The school also offers free tutoring. Let's put number 10 down for you. And what's number 10? It says find the range of the function. And the bottom line is they give me a domain over here and a function. So this is 2x minus 3. And the domain of this is going to be 0, 1, 2, and 3. The range is going to be what f gives back. So it's going to be f of 0, f of 1, f of 2, and f of 3. Let's write this down. 2 times 0 minus 3 is minus 3. 2 times 1 minus 3 is going to be minus 1. 2 times 2 minus 3 is going to be 1. 2 times 3 minus 3 is going to be 3. These are the range numbers over here. I'm going to write it down for you. The range is going to be, let's see, minus 3, minus 1, 1, and 3. Whoops, I did it. I got to correct it. Let me just back up a little bit. 3. All right, put a little box in this over here. And again, I can't say enough times. Look at the K. See if you're staring at that. And hopefully you are. That's going to be number 11. And what's number 11? You know, basically find the equation of the line containing the point 3 minus 3. And it's perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 1/3 of an x minus 2. Well, I'll write this that m perpendicular is 1/3. So what's this guy's slope? It's the negative reciprocal. So it's going to be minus 3. Let's write this down. Y minus a minus 3. Again, we're taking this to be y1, this to be x1, equals the slope, which is minus 3, times x minus 3. It's a fine answer. WebAssign typically wants you to solve for y, though. So let's put this down for you. Look at the key later. Let's look at the key. Mistakes can happen. That's why we look at a key, by the way. And we're looking at it. This is good news. Let's go to number 12. And what's number 12? F of x equals 2x cubed minus 5x minus 2. And they want me to evaluate f at minus 2. I want to point out this is a polynomial, 3 terms, trinomial, degree 3. What do you get? 2 minus 2 cubed minus 5 minus 2 minus 2. Let's take a look at this. What do you get? Minus 16 plus 10 minus 2 minus 8. Fairly simple arithmetic. Look at the key. Make sure you can agree with that. And we can. Let's go to number 13. Again, we're just quickly going through the problems. Students want to see them done quickly. You can always pause these tapes and look at them at your convenience. All right, we're on 13 now. Find the domain of the relationship. I'm going to do the same bubble diagram. X, domain, Y, range. All right, write down. I'm looking at the x values. And there's ordered pairs, by the way. The ordered pairs are x, comma, y. And give me 1 second. I got to wait for that thing to disappear. What are the x's? Let's write these down. I'm seeing minus 2. I'm seeing minus 1. I'm seeing 3. And I do see minus 2 again for the x. I'm not going to put it down twice. Like seeing me twice, thinking there's 2 of me. All right, let's put the range down now. 2, 5, 7, minus 2. Let's talk about the relationship. Minus 2 goes to 2. That's the first ordered pair. Minus 1 goes to 5. That's the second ordered pair. 3 goes to 7. That's the third ordered pair. The fourth ordered pair, minus 2, goes to minus 2. All right, write this down for you. The domain is going to be minus 2, minus 1, and 3. I keep doing that, don't I? What else did they say? Determine if this relationship, and it is a relationship, by the way, is functional. It's not a function. If someone says why, because -2 has two arrows coming from it, it maps to 2, and it maps to -2. And this is a no-no for functionality. They do say that in the key. I would recommend reading through that, by the way. Let's go to number 14. These are relatively simple questions. At least I hope they are. If you've done the work that we've asked you to do, that these should be very simple questions. What do you see? F of x is a rational function, x squared. It's a polynomial, degree 2. It's a binomial. The bottom is a trinomial, degree 3. What do they want me to do? Evaluate f at -1. Parenthesize the variable and plug in its value. Parenthesize the variable and plug in its value. Yes, mistakes can happen. What do you get on top? You get 1 plus 3. The bottom you get -1 plus 1 plus 6. This gives you 4/6 or 2/3. Look at the key. Make sure you're staring at that. All right, let's go to number 18. Just give me a second to push that up. And we're on 15 now. And what's 15? You know, find the x and y intercepts and graph the line. Well, let's write this down. So let's do x-intercept first. Did they say find it? How do you do that? You set the y to be 0. If you set y to be 0, you get 3x equals 12. Well, x would have to equal 4. That's done. Let's do y-intercept. How do you do y-intercept? Set x to be 0. Well, if you set x to be 0, you get 4y is equal to 12. Well, y would have to be equal to 3. So we found these two. They asked me to graph the line. I'll go through that with you. One point at a time. First point I'd put is the y-intercept, which is 0, 3. The y-intercept, the x-intercept is 4, 0. Put a line through it. Call it a day. Look at the key. Make sure you're staring at those answers. And in fact, you are staring at those answers if you're looking at the key, including a better looking graph. Let's go to number 16. And 16 says use the distance formula to find the distance between 2 points. I'm going to remind you what distance formula is. Change in x's squared. It's Pythagorean theorem, by the way. Change in y squared. So let's write the points down. The first point I'm given is -4, 2. And the second point I'm given is 4, -5. All right, this is P1. This is P2, which means x1, y1, x2, y2. No, you don't have to label these things. Let's take a look. X2 is 4. Minus a -4 is +4. Let's see. Y2 is -5, -2. That's not so bad. What's D? Well, it's going to get a little bit easier. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 squared is 64. Let's see. -5 minus 2 is -7. And -7 squared is 49. So this is going to be the square root of 113. That's the distance. However, they did say round your answer to 2 decimal places. So you're going to have to take the square root of 113 and you have to use a calculator. And it's going to be somewhere between 10 and 11. But a calculator is pretty simple to do, 10.63. Okay, I want to emphasize if you have trouble using a calculator, come by during office hours and we give you a one-on-one session and we can help you learn how to use a calculator, whether your calculator is your cell phone or a very simple calculator or even a computer will help you learn how to use a calculator, okay? We're going to 17. And I kind of read it to you. It says that the lines parallel, perpendicular, neither. I don't know. Let's write this down. So L1 is a line whose equation is y minus 5x equals 3. I want to solve for y. So y equals 5x. Whoops. I'm adding 5x to both sides plus 3. So m1 is 5. Let me write down L2. L2 is 5x minus y equals 4. And let's see, I got to solve that for y again. So minus y equals minus 5x plus 4. Multiply both sides by minus 1. Now we get 5x minus 4. So m2 is equal to 5. Now what do I know? m1 is equal to m2. 5 does equal 5. What does this tell me? It tells me they're parallel. Okay, look at the answer key. They're parallel. Why are they parallel? Because m1 is equal to m2. All right, let's look at 18. What's 18? Y equals, let's see, minus 3 halves minus 2. And they want me to, graph it. And how do you graph a line? I would say pick 2 points. So I'm going to pick x to be 0. It's easy for me. That's why I pick it. And you would get minus 2. The other value I'd pick is actually minus 2 for x. Now, if you chose minus 2 for x, you would get 3 minus 2, which is 1. I'm going to graph these 2 points out. I find them to be the easiest points for me. You may disagree with that. You pick the points you like. So let's see, 0 minus 2, right? Let's put that down for you. All right, what's the other point? Minus 2, 1. I'm going to draw a line through it. Look at the key. You should be looking at the key, and the key indicates the 2 points that I've chosen for you and the line that's being drawn for you. That's problem number 18. Let's go to problem number 19. It's an equation to be solved, and it should be a relatively simple one. So it's going to be the cube root. This is number 19, by the way. The cube root of 5y is equal to minus 4. Well, the radical is already isolated, so all I'm going to do is raise both sides to the index of that radical, which is 3. What do you get? Something pretty simple. You get 5y, and minus 4 cubed is minus 64. Divide both sides by 5, and what do you get? Minus 64 fifths. Again, my recommendation, look at the answer key. Make sure you're staring at that. Let's go to number 20. And what's number 20? Find the equation of a line containing the point. Write this down for you. And a slope. Well, this should be relatively simple. Y minus y1, 7, equals m, which is minus 3, x minus x1, which is 3. So minus 3 is plus 3. It's a fine answer. I want to solve for y, though. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Look at the answer key. And again, if you're not staring at these answers, there has to be a problem somewhere. And I'm looking pretty good. Y equals minus 3x minus 2. Let's go to 21. And what's 21? Write a quadratic equation that has integer coefficients with solutions 11 and 3. So put this over here. I'm going to work my way backwards. All I'm doing is working my way backwards. Might seem strange to you, but we're working backwards. There's my quadratic equation. They want me to multiply it out. Let me do that for you. What do you get? X squared minus 14x plus 33 equals 0. This is a quadratic equation. Its solutions would be 11 and 3. And it's got integer coefficients. Look at the answer key. Make sure you're staring at that answer. And of course you are. All right, let's go to 22 now. (22) is find an equation of a line. They give me 2 points. And 2 minus 1. Write slope down first because I need slope. And it's going to be minus 1 minus 13. That's a change in y's. 2 minus a minus 5, which is 2 plus 5. minus 14 over 7, which is minus 2. Well, I'm going to take this point and this slope and write the equation line down. What do you get? Y minus 13 equals minus 2. X minus 5 is plus 5. That's a good answer. I'm also going to solve for y. Add 13 to both sides. Now, I know someone's going to say, what if I chose the other guy? I chose this one over here. All right. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's say you were to choose this guy over here and this slope over here. Let's write that one down. Y minus a minus 1 is plus 1 equals minus 2. X minus 2. Well, that's a fine answer. You might say it looks different. Let's see what happens. Subtract 1 from both sides. I'm hoping you're seeing these answers are identical answers. All right. Look at the K. Make sure you can agree with it. And you can, because it says y equals minus 2x plus 3. All right, let's go to number 23 now. And what's 23? Solve for z. Now, what do I notice about this immediately? That I could probably use a simple rule in this. I'm going to use the square root rule. So I'm going to solve it for a variable expression. That's z squared minus 64. Then use the square root rule. It's going to be plus or minus the square root of minus 64. So z equals plus or minus, well, it's going to be I, because I got a minus 1 there. And the square root of 64 is 8. So what's the answer going to be? Z equals plus or minus 8I. Look at the answer key. Make sure you're staring at that. Let's go to 24. And what's 24? You know, the lines parallel perpendicular. Write this down. L1 is 4x minus y equals 2. I'm going to solve for y. Minus 4x plus 2. Y equals, multiplying both sides by minus 1, 4x minus 2. So M1, this the first, is going to be 4. Let's put down L2. Now what's L2? Y plus 1/4 x equals minus 7. I'm going to solve for y, relatively simple. So M2 is minus 1/4. Now I hope you realize that M1 does not equal M2. However, M1 times M2 equals minus 1. What does that tell me? They're perpendicular. Look at the key. Make sure you understand it's given to you. And they do say they're perpendicular because their product of slopes is minus 1. All right, let's go to 25. And I'll write that down for you. 25 is find the domain of the following. And this is a function. H is a function of x. It's a ratio of two polynomials. And these polynomials are fairly simple. The top polynomial is linear. It's binomial degree 1. The bottom polynomial is quadratic. It's a trinomial. And that's degree 2, quadratic. So what do I know? I know it's a ratio. The bottom can't be 0, though. So x squared plus 4x minus 12 can't be 0. Why is that? Can't divide by 0. I'm hoping it's going to be relatively simple to do by finger numbers. X times x is x squared. I can say 6 and 2. And that does work because you get x squared. You do get 4x minus 12. X can't be 2. And x can be minus 6. Why is that? If I use those numbers, I have division of 0. So the way we write that down, we say all the real numbers, any number that means, any real number. However, we can't let 2 in, and we cannot let minus 6 in. It's a fine answer. There's an easier way of writing that. All real numbers is often written this way. It's called a blackboard R, x not 2, x not minus 6. Oops. All right, look at the key, and you should be staring at that, and you are staring at that. Let's go to 26. And this is going to be the square root of -5 times the square root of -80. Well, one thing I recommend to you is once you see that minus number in that even root, you got to take care of it. And that's going to be I root 5. Oh, I see that 80. It's minus though, so it's I root 80. I times I, I'm doing that through a commutation association, is I squared. And root 5 and root 80 together is going to be 400. What's I squared? -1. What's the square root of 400? 20. What's -1 times 20? -20. Again, look at the key. Make sure you're staring at that. Let's go to 27. Probably the toughest question in the problem set. But you should never see things as being so tough you can't do it. We write problems that can work out pretty nicely, by the way. What's 27? Well, it's an equation with roots in it. And our method there is to isolate a root and then to raise both sides of the equation to the root's index. Well, one of the roots is already isolated. So I'm just going to raise both sides to its index, which is 2. So what do you get? 6x plus 13. Well, that wasn't bad. On the right side is a nightmare for a lot of students. 6x plus 13. 1 times 1 is 1. Let's see, root 6x plus 6x. Well, I'm going to keep going forward. I'm going to isolate the radical again. And what do you get? You get 12. Whoops, sorry about that. You get 12 equals 2 root 6x. Well, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And what do you get? Now let's take a look. You get 6 equals root 6x. My radical's isolated. I'm going to square both sides. You know what? Let me go back to the red ink. I'm going to raise both sides to the radical's index, which is 2. And what do you get? 36 equals 6x. Divide both sides by 6. Well, it's a lot of work, isn't it? And what do you get? You get 6 equals x. Look at the key, and you're staring at it. And that covers that. And what I'm going to do is just briefly talk about other places to do the review. Certainly all your homework should be done now. And the review and the notes should be done now. I'm going to do another screen share with you. And I'm just going to do the, let's see what I want to do here. The course website. So when you're at the course website, you're going to see a section that says reviews. Click on that. It's going to open up another review sheet. This is a departmental review. What I mean by that is departmental designed this review. Let me just expand it out, get rid of the sidebar. And we've done, certainly a review for exam number 1. We've done the review for the midterm exam. And now we're talking about the review for exam number 2. If you click on that, remember things in red on the notes will bring you directly there. And what do you notice over there? Questions, very similar to what we've just done. You can print this out. I do recommend it. They have solutions in here. They have a section number that corresponds to your textbook, and they have a video over there. I would recommend doing it. The more you do, the better you get this material. And it's also going to be easier when you transfer either at Essex to a higher level course or to another school where you're going to be more competitive, that you're able to do simple things. And we want you able to do these types of problems at Essex County College. Thank you very much.